Hi. So lately, I saw a lot of people asking like how they can actually share pages to a guest. So let's say, for example, you have an auditor, you want to share your invoice statements to them, or you have a collaborating with your clients, right? You want to kind of share. So, but then you don't want to share everything, right? So I saw there's kind of a lot of questions or just fear of what if can I access to my other pages. So today I'm going to show you a few scenarios here. I think total of six on how you can share it, and then how you can what's the best practice to do it. So yeah, let's jump into it. So here we have scenario one. So we want to share this page only. So this page here. So this is like just a text page. So we basically want to share this. So for example, let me just show example here. So I want to share to this person called Robot. And then we can kind of select different kind of access here. So full access, can edit, can comment, can view. So basically full access is that they can edit and then they can also share to other people. And then can edit, so they can edit it but can't share to other people, so only for them. Comment means that they can look at the documents and then just put the comments there. And then last is that we have can view. So basically they can only view, they can't do anything else. So in this case, maybe I can just share full access here just to see how it looks like. So I share it. So I'm going to go to my other account. So here's my other account. Let me just kind of find the page. So share this. So here we have it. You can see I can type it again since I have full access here. And I also can actually edit, invite someone else to join this one. So yeah, this is the first option. And then let's go to the scenario 2 then. So scenario 2 is to share the whole database. So for example, here we are like a whole invoice database here, like 1, 2, 3, and then the amounts here. So maybe you have like a freelancer that you want to work with, right? But you don't want to invite them to your Notion Teamspace workspace because that will cost money. So all you can do is just, you can click on full page and then just click share. And same thing, we're going to share to Robot again. So he'll be our freelancer. And then you can share, so you don't want them to have full access, maybe just one. So in terms of database, so you can see like there's actually additional options here. So you have full access, you can edit content, but can't edit the database views or structure. So the difference is that because we are using database, right? So they do have all these like different properties or columns, you call it. So if you select can edit, it means that they can actually delete all these columns here, or maybe the formulas here, they can change it. But if you just select can edit content, right? So what this means is that they won't be able to change the structure. They can't delete it. They can't add on new columns properties. They can't change the formula. So maybe I just want him to do this because I don't want them to mess up. So just share this with them. And then go back here and then see share again. So more invoice. So you can see that I have access here. I can add on new invoice here. And then just put in amount. So you might have noticed one problem, like if you only want to share, for example, for one client, right? So doing this actually share the whole database to them. So this is a no-no. So let's go to scenario 3 then. Okay. So scenario 3 here, share only one item inside the database. So in this case, like you only have this client, oh, hi, we're done with the job. So just want to share you the invoice, maybe there could be a status here, stuff like that. You want to share only this invoice number one. So instead of sharing like how I showed you earlier, like clicking full page and then click share it. So what you need to do is you can open it. So invoice one here, and then just click share. And then let me type Robot again. So he's our another client. In this case, you don't want them to edit. You probably just want them to view, right? So they kind of want to know the status of the project, stuff like that. So just click view, can view, and then invite. So now that we invited him, so let's go back to the account and then go to share and then invoice number one. So you can see he only have access to invoice number one. So I can't actually even type anything. So maybe I just type something new here just to show that it's actually being shown here. You can see it's being updated here on real time, but I can't change anything because I don't have access to it. So yeah, that's how I can share it. And then for the next scenario, so scenario number 4. So you want to share to public. So maybe you want to share all the page to everyone. So not just people that have a Notion account. So sometimes maybe there are chances that clients, right, they don't use Notion, which is very often. So you just want to share it to them like, oh, you want to see this invoice here, maybe invoice number 2. I want to share to you. Like, so oftentimes, as long as you don't think it's too sensitive, you can do this. So what you can do is that you can just click publish to web here, publish, and then make sure you disable allow duplicates template since it's not necessary. Maybe you can put allow comments so they can put in comments there, but they will require a Notion account to do this. And then allow editing, you don't want them to do that. And then the most important is that to disable search engine indexing, which means that you disallow browsers to kind of find this page so it won't appear on Google search. And lastly, just copy the web link and then you can just share to them. So they will have access to it and then they'll be able to allow comments, but they won't be able to change anything. So this is kind of how you can do like a quick and easy way to share to customers that's not on board to Notion, which is very common. And then number 5 is it's probably something very confusing for a lot of people. So let's say I have a lot of, let me just remove the filter. So now I have like 3 invoices here. One first invoice for client A, 2 and 3 is actually for client B. So like, oh, I only want to share invoice number 1 for client A. Maybe I want to share invoices that belongs to client B. So your first thought is like, oh, let me just filter it since Notion has this filter function. I'm going to select client and then select B. And then I'm going to just share this to the client then, since this is only B, right? I'm going to share it and then share the same one again, robot. And then select, oh, like Thomas say, like you can just like can edit content means they can't change the structure or views of the database, right? So check in white. So let's just go and see what happened. And then go to share. Okay, this is the latest invoice. So this is where we share for client B, right? So unfortunately, this doesn't work because even though it kind of like Notion say you can't change the structure, but when it comes to sharing for filter, right? So you can actually just remove the filter and then the client can still see all the invoices from other clients. So this is like a common pitfall that actually took me like embarrassing, like took me like 1 year to actually realize it. But yeah, this is a bit confusing. So it's actually one of the top priorities like for Notion to work on. But I think it's probably quite challenging from their end as well. So it's taking a bit longer. So just want to know that if you want to share, you have to share one by one, like in terms of just go into the page I showed you earlier and then just share that only. So yeah, that's the next scenario. And then let's go to the next one. Is scenario 6. Okay, so this is the scenario number 6. Let me see. You need to share 2 databases pages to the users for this to work. So this is very common scenarios where, for example, you have 2 databases here. Maybe one is like for client database. You kind of want to have like an overview, maybe their address, their phone number, and then you want to link it to their invoice. So for client 1, you have 2 invoices here. You kind of see like, oh, so total amounts. This is how much the clients has been charged. And then client 2 maybe 0, client 3 you have 1 invoice, and then you have the invoice here, so it's like a separate database. So normally like your first instinct is like, oh, I want to share the invoice, or I want to just share this client page to my client, right? Just to know that how much is being charged, maybe kind of see the status of the invoice. So your first instinct is probably like what Thomas said earlier, just share this one and then share the robot again, and then make sure that they only have view access because I don't want to change anything, right? So share that. And then you can go back to the page here. So go to client 1. So what we notice is that they only can see the country. They cannot see the invoice. They cannot see the amount. So actually what's going on, even though here you can see everything, why is it here you can't see it? So the reason is that the client do not have access to the invoice template or database in this case. So the reason why they cannot see this info, because they do not have access. So Notion just automatically just cuts it off. So how you can work around for this is that you need to share this page to the client as well. So in this case, you just share this one. So it's a bit tedious, I guess, in this case. So just share this to robot and just share as view and then share this as well. And then robot and view in white. So if I go back now, I should just refresh it. I think you should be able to see it now. Interesting that I don't see it yet. So is it invoice 2 though? Let me see. Client is invoice 1, invoice 2. Invoice 1, invoice 2. Are they the same invoice though? This is interesting. Okay, I think it's the same. I guess I'm learning something new as well. So let me kind of unshare this so that we can kind of prove that it's working properly or not. Robot. So I shared to robot, right? Maybe I can remove his access first. Share, and then why can't I see what I shared to robot though. This is kind of weird. But okay, regardless, let me just select view in white. So he's here now. Let me go back to here and then just refresh. Hopefully it's working now. And it's still not working for some reason. Now I can see all the clients for some reason. And I cannot see the invoice because it's not being supported, I guess. That's very interesting. I guess like in this case, I guess I do learn something new is that you can't actually share just by pages individually to the clients and then hoping that they can still see it. So you need to share the whole database, but let's kind of just test this out since this is something new to me actually, because I normally don't kind of share pages based on this kind of structure. It's just kind of tedious. Like if you want to do it like this, select view again. Let's go back and then see. Okay, now you can see that it's showing the amount. Let me see client one. So you can see client one is actually showing the amount now. And then client two is showing the amount as well. So kind of refresh it. Okay. So yeah, I guess basically what we learned from here is that in order for them to see the whole amounts, so they will need to have access to the database. At least for client one, they maybe only need to have access to one pager for the client database. But for invoice, they need to have access to the whole database. So probably not the best use case for this. Normally, I'll just create like separate database for the clients so that I don't have to like show them like individually, or I just don't want to link like to database. So just to avoid that. So that's it. And then this is probably not the one. All right. So if you like the video, so please give it a subscribe and then thanks for watching.